As the creature dies, you sink your teeth into its arm to taste its juicy flesh. But then you remember the other two adventurers. The red-robed figure is facing you, pointing the little finger of each hand at you and mumbling. The shiny human has grabbed a sword, similar to the dwarves, but larger, and is shouting, blah 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 blah. You cannot fight both at once. Which will you direct your attention to? Test your luck. If you are lucky, turn to 292. If you are unlucky, turn to 48. So the way testing your luck works. So our current luck score is 9. What I have to do is roll the dice and try and get lower than 9, I believe. Is it lower or higher? I really should have checked all this stuff first. Yeah. So roll 2 dice. If the number is equal or less than our current luck score, we've been lucky. So we roll 2 dice and I have to get less than 9, hopefully. Ooh, that was close. I got 8. So we are lucky. Because we had to use our luck, I now detract 1 luck point. So I've now got 8. Yeah, your luck will run out if you try and rely on it too much. You can actually use luck in combat, but I don't really feel the need to very often. Anyway, 292, that's where we go. 292. Your reaction is immediate. The red-robed human is deep in thought and looks an easy target. You step forward and swipe viciously at him with your claws. He screams and falls to the ground, clutching at his face. You look down at the undefended wretch and prepare to deliver the death blow. But at that moment you feel a terrible sting in the back, which causes you to bellow and swing round. The remaining adventurer has lunged at you with his sword and succeeded in piercing the scales and flesh on your back. You must lose 2 stamina points for the wound and then face the knight in plate armour. So we took a bit of damage there from the knight, so we're down to 18 again. And now we fight the knight, who has 8 skill and 9 stamina. So let's see what we got here. I start by rolling. I've rolled 6, giving me 18 skill. Come on, less than 10. He's got 7, so I've hit him that. Yeah, that means I've hit him, taking his stamina down to 7. Alright, roll. I've rolled 10, taking me up to 22. He can't exceed that. So I'd hit him again for 5. Come on, let's do this. Unharmed. I've rolled 12, which means immediate kill, because that's 2 6s. He is dead. That's 1 armoured knight down. Okay, turn to 446 because we beat the knight. 446, that's right at the back of the book. You deliver the death blow and the knight drops to the ground. With the danger now over, your thoughts turn to food. The smell of warm hobbit reaches your nostrils and your mouth begins to water. You snatch the creature in one hand and eagerly sink your teeth into its sweet flesh. But this will merely provide a snack for you. Inside his armour, the knight is an impossible meal, but the red-robed wizard groaning on the floor may be a new taste for you to savour. You silence his miserable whimpers with a single deadly slash from your claws. For the tasty meal, you may restore your stamina to its initial level. So that's a full heal, and we weren't really that injured, but we're back to full health again. Speaking of full health, I'm thirsty. Oh, this talking dries my throat out. After you have eaten, you rummage through the adventurers' belongings. Their packs have little to interest you. The hobbits carried a miniature sword, and you find a rolled-up piece of thin parchment in the wizard's robe. All 3 humans carried odd-shaped lumps of a doughy substance, perhaps food, although it smells of nothing to you. That's referencing the rations you can use in other books to heal yourself, but we don't use rations, we just eat corpses. They also have small hide pouches containing round, flat objects of shiny metal. You cannot think what these may be for, so you toss them aside. Yeah, we got no need for money. You must now continue your journey. Passages lead off to the chamber to the north, east and west. You decide to take the passageway to the west. You leave the chamber and the way ahead is lit by flickering fire. Eventually, the fire's light becomes too distant to help and you're groping your way in pitch blackness. I think the reason it forced us to go west was because we came from the other direction to get in, and I think the third direction was an alternate way to get to that same room. You will fight those adventurers every time. You can't avoid them. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. Eventually, the fire's light becomes too distant to help. You're groping away in pitch blackness. Suddenly, a high-pitched twittering sound comes from above you, followed by others. You have disturbed a group of flying creatures, which are now squeaking in alarm as they dart about you. You swipe at them blindly and catch one or two of them as they dive at you and scratch you with sharp claws. But your scales protect you from any serious harm, and you are soon further along the passage, where these creatures evidently do not venture. The passage turns north. You follow it around the bend to the right and stop in front of a wooden door. There is no other way forward. Will you heave at the door with your shoulder, or is there something else you wish to do? Roll 1 dice. If we roll 1 or 2, we go to 277. If we roll 3 to 6, we go to 101. 6. So we're going to 101. Let's see where this leads. Oh, this is a long one. The door cracks under the force of your blow. Okay, so we've gone through the door. A hole appears and you rip the timbers away until it is large enough for you to pass through. Torches are mounted on the door to the room inside, and there are 2 doors, one to the east and one to the west. There is no furniture to speak of, but some remains, perhaps of a table and chair, litter the floor among a thin covering of dirty straw. The wood has been broken in what appears to have been a furious battle, the results of which lie before you. In the centre of the room is a familiar sight. Casting your mind back to the battle you have just won, you recognise the figure of an armoured knight lying face down in the straw. His face is hidden under an elegant helmet decorated with wings coming from above each ear. A dark-bladed sword has entered his body through a gap in his armour between his arm and shoulder. Lying next to the knight are 3 other figures. One is similar in stature but wears a tough leather tunic and helmet. A bloody stain around his belly indicates how this adventurer came to grief. The other 2 adventurers are not so familiar. They are shorter than the others and are dressed in armour of scaly brown hide. They have gnarled, pug-nosed faces with vicious teeth set in their lower jaws. All 4 bodies are dead. You step forward to get a better look. Suddenly you hear a chomping sound coming from somewhere in the room. In fact, several places. But you cannot see anything which might be making such a noise. Your eyes pass over the adventurer in leather armour and you suddenly freeze. While you are watching, a chunk of flesh disappears from his thigh. You watch incredulously as a few more moments more. Not only does the more flesh disappear from the adventurer's leg, but you also notice the body of one of the pug-nosed creatures twitch as its forearm suddenly loses a fleshy lump. The scene is worrying and you must decide what to do next. Roll 1 dice. If you roll 1, 2 or 3, you decide to investigate the adventurer's bodies. If you roll 3, 4, 5 or 6, you head quickly for the door to the east. Alright, something's eating these, but they're invisible, so let's roll 1. I guess we're investigating the bodies. I don't think that's a good idea. Turn to 2, 3, 4. Where are we? You approach the smaller of the 2 pug-nosed creatures and prod it with your foot. Its lifeless body shrugs and lies still, but a familiar prod on the leather-armoured adventurer's leg produces a startlingly different result. A shrill screeching sound shocks you to attention as if there was some kind of signal. Something starts to happen in the room. 3 shapes begin to materialise in front of you. I knew this was a bad idea. Turn to 447. 447, 447. Yeah, and that's right at the end of the book again. Oh, this is pretty much right where we just were. Yeah, it's in the book. Your eyes widen as 3 scrawny creatures form before you. They are thin and angular and move in quick, jerky motions. Although their bodies are covered in scraggly dark fur, their bony faces are bold with tiny eyes. In the centre of each face is an oversized, protruding mouth, rimmed with sharp teeth. These vicious little flesh feeders live on carrion. And we've actually got a picture of them here. Can't really see them in the picture. There's one right in the middle there. So these things were eating the corpses, look like. While feeding, they make themselves invisible to avoid being caught unawares. But in between meals, they are both visible and quick-tempered. They now face you, furious their meals have been interrupted, and you must battle the creatures. They attack together. So there's actually 3 creatures to face at once here. So they've got skills. They're all 6 skill. That looks like a 0, not a 6. It'd be easy if they were a 0. And their staminas are 6, 7, and 6. So there's specific rules for fighting multiple opponents. Let's go back and check what they are to make sure I know for certain. I really should have done this from the start, but oh well. Okay, so if you're fighting lots of opponents, you can only attack once. So you have to roll for each one's skill. And they can hurt you easy enough. You know, they can hurt you each round, but you can only attack one of them, basically. Okay. So yeah, seems easy enough. Let's start rolling. They've all got 6, which makes life easier, and mine is 12. So if I score 6 more than... I forgot what I was saying there. Oh well. Yeah, if I score more than 6, they're not going to hurt me. So I've actually just rolled 6, making me 18. So let's see, if they rolled 12, then I don't know what happens. We draw. Nope, they did not roll 12. They rolled 5. Then they rolled 7. And they rolled 7. So now they didn't hurt me, and I get to hurt one of them. I'll start with the one on the left. So that, I'll go through them one by one, I guess. It's easier that way. So I roll 4. That's not good, because they can probably hurt me after that. If they roll more than 10. They've rolled 8. So that one, first one didn't hurt me. 6, second one didn't hurt me. 4 didn't hurt me. Hit the first one again. See, this really isn't very exciting for you guys, but I've got to do it, you know. I rolled 6 again. So that gives me 18. They've rolled 7, didn't hurt me. 6 didn't hurt me. 6 didn't hurt me. So that's one of them is dead. So that's going to make life easier. I rolled 2. That's a double, so that means I get to kill the next one immediately. He is dead. Let's see if the other one hurt me though. So he's still got to roll. He rolled 6, which is lower than my 14, so he does not hurt me. I've got 1 left. I rolled 5, putting me at 17. He rolled 5, putting him at 11. Take him down to 4. I rolled 7, putting me up to 19. He rolls 6, putting up to 12. 1 more round, and I should have won this because they're pretty weak. I rolled 7. He rolled 12. Is mine higher or his? Mine's higher. Which means I have 1 against those guys. They didn't even touch me. And that's the flesh feeders dead. Turn to 89. 89. There we are. You rest for a few moments to catch your breath, and then you survey the room. Your curiosity overcomes you, and you begin to investigate the 7 bodies in the room. Yeah, because that's the 2 adventurers, the 2 orcs, and now the 3 things we just killed. The pug-faced orcs are dirty and smelly. You try a mouthful of flesh, but spit it out in disgust. Around their waists they carry small bags, which when ripped open send a shower of small bones flying across the room. The 2 adventurers are not much more interesting. Similar pouches contain those round pieces of shiny metal that you came across before. They scatter on the floor and you ignore them. How much treasure have I ignored? I'm probably rich by now. The pack on the back of the adventurer in the winged helmet is decorated and attracts your attention. One of the straps breaks as you rip it off the back and grope clumsily inside. You feel something solid. As you fumble angrily with the rucksack, a hard wooden casket opens and drops to the ground. A hard wooden casket drops to the ground and falls open. Inside is a clear, smooth flask which contains swirling purple gas. Your curiosity is captured and your huge clawed hand tries to grasp the delicate flask. But this turns out to be hopeless. Eventually you pick up the casket and drop it on the ground. As luck would have it, the flask jumps in its cradle and lands in such a way that the stopper flips out of the flask. The purple gas within swirls tempestuously, that's a hard word to read, and its vapours seep slowly from the neck of the flask. Ooh, we're getting some kind of mystery gas. Hope we don't have to fight it. Where are we? 382. The gas drifts from the flask, but rather than spreading out, it pulls together in a purple cloud and billows up before you. You watch open-mouthed as the shape begins to form in the cloud and eventually turns into a face, which stares deep into your eyes. The face is human-like, but thin and with jagged features. The pupils of its eyes are not round, but instead serpent-like. Its thin-lipped mouth opens and speaks. Blah 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 blah. Because we still can't understand what it says. Your anger mounts as you swipe at the cloud, but your hand passes right through the gas without even disturbing it. The mysterious face blinks slowly, and the colour of the cloud flashes momentarily from purple to white and back to purple again. The face disappears, and the cloud is sucked back down into the flask. Once safely inside the flask, the stopper replaces itself in the neck, and the bottle settles into its cradle in the wooden casket. An instant later, the casket and its contents have faded to nothing. You decide you've had enough of this room, but you may add 2 luck points to your find. So that puts us back up at 9 luck again, which is good. Will you leave the door through the west or door to the east? So essentially what that gas thing did to us, although we couldn't understand precisely what it said, is it's given us the ability to actually think. We can now decide where we're going. So I don't have to rely on the dice to choose my path for me anymore, which is good. So, west or east? I guess I'll try east first. I mean, I don't really know where I'm going at this point. I've actually got to make decisions now. So let's try east. That's, 33. You leave the room along the dusty corridor. A strange bluish light comes from the glowstone set in the ceiling to light your way. With every step you take, a glowstone ahead of you lights up and one behind you fades to darkness. It's almost as if your progress were being monitored by some unseen entity. As you wait for your eyes to adjust to the light, you pause to consider the strange events in the previous room. You retract your claws and rub your rough, scaly belly thoughtfully. You can make no sense of what happened. Eventually you set off once more, and after a few paces you come to a junction. The passageway runs off to the north. You may take this, or you may continue east. Well, we're already going east, so I might as well keep going east. I mean, stick with the path we got, I suppose. Alright, let's keep going east. You head off eastwards. After a few steps, the passage begins to widen. You can hear distant sounds ahead. As you get closer, you recognise them, and your mouth waters, for the sound you can hear is the unmistakable chatter of tasty hobbits. Ooh, we love those hobbits. Without any consideration of the consequences, you make your way quickly towards the noises. The glowstones light your way to a wide chamber. The passage enters it around a bend, and you stop to survey the scene. Marble flooring marks the entrance to this meeting chamber, which is decorated with carvings and dark archways. 3 hobbits, wearing none of that obstructive metal armour, are engaged in a heated discussion in the centre of the chamber. They have their backs towards you, but they're concerned about their safety, and one of them keeps on looking around the chamber for signs of danger. Will you wait until this one is occupied before rushing into attack, or you ignore the advantage of surprise to simply rush in? Alternatively, you may wish to ignore the hobbits and head across the chamber to a passage opposite, which continues to the east. So, I want to take out the hobbits, I'm guessing, because that's going to get us treasure out. Something, I guess. If I wait until that one to be occupied, they might leave. But if I rush in, I might get hurt. I think I'll play it cautious and wait for the one looking out to stop paying attention. So, turn to 288, see what that gets us. Gets us killed, probably.